All right, the big focus, of course, today is the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, who is presently in India. Prime Minister Narendra Modi went to the airport to receive Netanyahu, who is the first Israeli Prime Minister to visit India in more than a decade. The Prime Minister Modi hugged and shook hands with the Israeli leader, with whom he had developed a warm rapport during his visit to Israel last year in the month of July. Now, Netanyahu is accompanied by a 130-member business delegation. From the airport, both the leaders then went to the Teen Murti Memorial to pay homage to the soldiers who had died in Haifa during World War I. The ceremony marks the formal renaming of the Teen Murti Chowk as the Teen Murti Haifa Chowk. Now, Haifa is a port city in the state of Israel and was the center of one of the key battles which was fought during the First World War, in which 44 Indian soldiers had lost their lives. Now, in the first official meeting, the Israeli Prime Minister will be calling on India's External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj. India is Israel's biggest arms market, buying a whopping $1 billion worth of weaponry hardware every single year from Israel. Now, Israel's state-owned defense contractor Rafael had announced on the 3rd of January that India had reportedly cancelled a $500 million order to buy its Spike anti-tank guided missiles. And also, according to reports, India will instead now opt for homemade anti-tank missiles. But despite the cancellation of the missile deal, India's defense ministry has said this month that it had cleared a plan worth $72 million to buy about 131 Barak surface-to-air missiles built by Israel's state-owned agency Rafael. Now, the two countries have, of course, grown closer since Narendra Modi became India's Prime Minister in 2014, widening the commercial cooperation beyond their long-standing defence ties. And also in the month of July last year, Narendra Modi had become the first Indian Prime Minister to visit the State of Israel in over 70 years. And deals for gas and oil cooperation, cyber security and agricultural projects are on the cards after his visit to the capital. Netanyahu will also be visiting the Taj Mahal in Agra and then will be heading to Ahmedabad, where he will also be visiting the Sabarmati Ashram. And then, of course, is the big event in Mumbai, where the Israeli Prime Minister will be interacting with many of the top Bollywood stars, producers and directors. Meanwhile, there are also reports that Netanyahu will be presenting a special gift to Prime Minister Narendra Modi. He is reportedly going to give Prime Minister Modi the Gal Mobile Water Desalinization and Purification Jeep. Now, these visuals that you see are from last year, from the month of July, when Prime Minister Modi was in the State of Israel. He had, of course, along with the Israeli Prime Minister, had gone on a ride in this buggy jeep, which Prime Minister Modi had praised very highly. Now, this, of course, is being seen as something revolutionary in providing portable drinking water to far-flung places within India. And one of these jeeps is what is going to be presented to Prime Minister Narendra Modi as a gift by the Israeli Premier during his visit. And also, Prime Minister Modi has tweeted welcoming the Israeli Prime Minister to India. He said, and I quote, "A special warm welcome for a special visit." Prime Minister Narendra Modi personally receives the Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu at the Delhi airport. It's also interesting to note that Prime Minister Modi has put out a tweet in Hebrew welcoming the Israeli Prime Minister. And he's also tweeted in another of his tweets where he said, "This year we mark 100 years of the end of the First World War. We remember with pride the Indian soldiers who fought valiantly in the war." In the presence of Prime Minister Netanyahu, paid tributes to the brave Indian soldiers who fought at Haifa. The spot where we commemorate their sacrifice will now be called the Teen Murti Haifa Chowk. And also, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu took to Twitter just moments after he was received by the Indian Prime Minister. He said, and I quote on Twitter, "We have landed in India. Thank you to my good friend Narendra Modi for the warm welcome."